I showed you a magnificent facsimile replica of Leonardo da Vinci's Forester, Codex. I believe the Forester one. Codex, there are three. For over 500 years, one of Leonardo da Vinci's most dangerous and forbidden designs remained locked away in silence, lost in cryptic sketches and half-erased notes. But now artificial intelligence has done the unthinkable. It scanned the secret. What it uncovered wasn't just a machine. It was a warning, a device so advanced, so ahead of its time that it leaves experts shaken. So, what exactly did the AI reveal and why does it change everything? Join us in this video as we reveal the details. AI scans the forbidden invention of Da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci spent a lot of his early life in the mountains near Florence, Italy. Since he was born, outside of marriage, he wasn't allowed to join important schools like the Platonic Academy in Florence. So instead of learning in classrooms, he spent years walking around the countryside. He studied nature closely, looking at birds, rocks, mountains, and the way water moved, while other artists focused on people or religion. Leonardo was very interested in how nature worked. Even though he didn't get formal education, he gathered a large amount of knowledge on his own, almost as much as the scholars in top schools. One important moment in his life was when he found a mysterious cave in the mountains. He even wrote about it in his notebook. This likely happened around the year 1480. The cave seemed to have a big emotional effect on him. Some people believe something strange happened during this time, as there were 2 years in Leonardo's life that are not well recorded. Some researchers suggest that during those missing years, Leonardo might have traveled through time or had some kind of contact with beings from another world. These theories claim that Leonardo may have entered a secret portal or gateway inside that cave. This could have taken him to the future where he saw things like helicopters, robots, and weapons that didn't exist yet. When he came back, he tried to draw and design those things. Some people even believe that he may have been helped by aliens who gave him ideas far ahead of his time. They point to his paintings and inventions as proof of this strange knowledge. One painting that gets a lot of attention is the Annunciation, which Leonardo made with another artist named Verrocchio. In this painting, the angel Gabriel disappears when seen with an X-ray. We are looking at a painting by Leonardo da Vinci. This depiction of the angel Gabriel announcing to the Virgin Mary that she will be the mother of Christ. Some say this was Leonardo's way of showing he was also a messenger, just like Gabriel. In his later works, he seemed to suggest that he had special knowledge to share with the world. Leonardo often used mirror writing. This was a writing that could only be read by holding it up to a mirror. Some believe he may have hidden similar secret images inside his paintings. For example, when people place mirrors at certain angles on the Mona Lisa, they claim to see hidden shapes, even figures that look like aliens. Another painting, Virgin of the Rocks, also shows hand positions that some think are clues for where to place mirrors. A designer named Terence Mason used a computer to test these ideas and found shapes that looked like alien heads. Later in life, Leonardo painted Street John the Baptist. In this work, the figure seems to appear from darkness when light is added, pointing upward as if showing the way to another world. Some people say this is Leonardo's way of telling us that he had seen the light or truth from another realm. Researchers who mirrored the painting found what they thought looked like an alien face, again linking the work to strange ideas about contact with other beings. In 2002, a researcher used special infrared cameras to look under Leonardo's unfinished painting, Adoration of the Magi. He found hidden drawings of horses, buildings, and people that were covered by other paint. One part showed a ruined Christian church being replaced by an Egyptian temple, which had a lotus flower symbol on top. In ancient Egypt, this flower stood for the flower of life, a symbol linked to the secrets of the universe. Some believe Leonardo was deeply interested in this symbol and may have used it to show hidden knowledge. All these clues lead some people to believe that Leonardo da Vinci may have had help from powerful sources, maybe even from beyond Earth. Recently, a powerful AI system was used to scan one of Leonardo Da Vinci's lesser-known sketches, and Invention once considered too advanced and dangerous for its time. What the AI uncovered stunned researchers. Hidden beneath layers of faded ink was a detailed design that looked remarkably similar to modern-day drone technology, complete with guidance systems and aerial capabilities no one believed possible in the 15th century. But even more shocking was a set of symbols encoded in the margins. Symbols that, when translated with AI, pointed to a mathematical formula not seen in modern physics until centuries later. Whatever Da Vinci saw, he may not have seen it in his own time. What did this AI scan truly uncover? And how did it bring Leonardo's long-hidden cave sketch back to life after 500 years? Let's find out. The awakening of Leonardo's lost machine. A long time ago, more than 500 years back, Leonardo da Vinci drew something very special. He wasn't just an artist. He was also a thinker, dreamer, and someone who loved building new things. And now, in today's modern world, something unbelievable has happened. One of Leonardo's old drawings came back to life. But here's the strange part. It wasn't brought back by people. No, it wasn't. It was brought back by something very new, something powerful, something we call quantum, artificial intelligence. At first, it might sound like a story from a movie, but it really happened. And what this advanced technology found in Leonardo's sketch surprised even the smartest engineers today. Nobody expected what was hiding inside that drawing. It looked like just a picture, but it was actually something much more. A group of researchers got a hold of one of Leonardo's old diagrams. This wasn't just any sketch. It came from a lost notebook that wasn't found until 1967 in Madrid, Spain. The notebook is called the Codeex Madrid, and inside it was a drawing of what looked like a calculator. Yes, a calculator, but not the kind we use today with buttons and screens. This one was made of wooden gears. It was all mechanical, meaning it worked with just wheels and turning parts. Leonardo drew this around the year 1502. That's over 5 centuries ago. In his sketch, he imagined a machine with 13 different wheels, each one turning and moving numbers. When one wheel turned 10 times, it would make the next one move once. It was a very clever way to do math using only gears. The researchers took a high-quality scan of this sketch, basically a super clear picture of it, and gave it to a quantum AI system. This isn't just any kind of computer. Quantum AI can look at things in millions of different ways all at once. It doesn't just follow simple steps. It thinks in layers, in patterns, in possibilities. That's what makes it so powerful. Once the AI started to study Leonardo's sketch, it didn't just stop at the surface. It did something that no person had ever done before. It looked deep into the drawing. It read Leonardo's notes, which were written in reverse Italian. The AI turned those notes into plain text. Then it studied how the gears might fit together like puzzle pieces. From that, the AI built a 3D model. That means it didn't just look at the picture. It made a version of the machine that could actually be printed and held in your hands. So, they used 3D printing to build a working version of Leonardo's machine. And when they tested it, something very strange happened. The machine didn't just do math. It seemed to learn how to do it better. The more they used it, the smoother it worked. The gears started to turn more easily, as if the machine was improving itself. The AI even noticed that the machine was changing how it moved based on the load. That's how much pressure or weight was placed on it. It made small changes to the gear sizes so that everything moved more smoothly. That alone was impressive. But then the AI saw something even bigger. When it kept watching the machine, the AI realized that Leonardo's invention might not have been just a calculator. It could be something much more powerful. The machine showed signs of logic. It wasn't only adding numbers, it was making choices. Some parts would move differently depending on what was happening. That's not normal for a simple adding machine. The AI used special vision tools similar to what libraries used to find hidden marks in old books. It looked beneath the ink on the paper, beneath what the human eye could see. And there, hidden under Leonardo's main drawing, it found light pencil lines. Lines that hadn't been noticed before. These lines formed something truly beautiful and mysterious. A Fibonacci spiral. This is a special pattern found in nature, in seashells, in flowers, even in the way galaxies spin. It's also known as the golden ratio, and Leonardo was known to love using it in his work. This means that Leonardo didn't just build a machine to do math. He might have been hiding a second secret design inside the first one. Maybe he was trying to build something that had natural beauty and mathematical power. Something that connected art, science, and nature all at once. Now that the legendary sketch has been found, what secrets does it actually reveal? Stay tuned for more. The hidden intelligence in Leonardo's design. The AI kept playing with different versions of the gear layout. And that's when it made another shocking discovery. When the gears were arranged in a slightly different way, the machine could do something else. It could measure the stars. The way the gears turned matched up with celestial distances, like how far apart stars are in space, using ideas from 16th century maps and navigation tools. One gear, the 13th one, turned out to be very special. It lined up almost perfectly with the lunar cycle, the 29th. 5 days it takes the moon to go around the Earth. That gear might not have just been an extra wheel. It might have been meant to track the moon. So now this machine wasn't just a calculator. It might have been a kind of star tracker, a navigation tool, or even a mechanical star map. And guess what else the AI found? It looked across the whole sketch and noticed a very strange pattern, like a soft, wavy watermark across the page. When it analyzed the shape, it saw something truly wild. Leonardo da Vinci's own face. The proportions of the face matched his famous drawing, the Vitruvian Man. It was like Leonardo had signed the drawing with a hidden picture of himself, something that could only be seen with special technology, something that might take hundreds of years to find. Was he leaving a personal mark? Was he hiding his identity in the machine itself? It seems that way, but the most mind-blowing part came next. When the AI ran more tests, the machine did something that completely puzzled the engineers. It changed the way it worked. Depending on how many times it was used, it started to prefer certain paths over others. It would remember how it had moved before and use that memory to move better the next time. This is what scientists call mechanical memory, the idea that a machine can remember and improve over time. In today's world, we call that learning. It's how brains work. The more you do something, the better you get at it. Leonardo's machine seemed to do the same thing, but with gears, not with a brain. It was almost like a very early, very simple kind of intelligence. Over 500 years ago, Leonardo da Vinci might have been building a machine that could teach itself. The AI saw that Leonardo's device was working like a computer loop. It wasn't just doing one thing over and over. It was using its own output as new input, changing and improving each time. That's exactly how modern computers work today. Even more amazing, the machine had what we now call conditional logic. That means it could make a choice. If one thing happened, it would do something else. That's the very core of what makes computer programs work. So now the idea becomes clear. Leonardo da Vinci might have drawn the world's first programmable machine, a computer made of wood and metal powered by turning a handle. This would mean he invented the idea of coding more than 300 years before people like Charles Babbage and Ada Lovelace, who are usually credited with creating the first computers and programs. The AI noticed something else hidden deep in the design. When it looked at the way the gears were shaped and connected, it realized something very familiar. The whole machine matched the bones of a human hand, especially the joints and fingers. And guess what? Leonardo studied the human hand more closely than almost anyone else in history. He dissected hands, drew them, and wrote about them in great detail. The machine seemed to be built not just for humans to use, but to work with the natural movement of the human body. The turning handle wasn't random. It was shaped so that your wrist and fingers could turn it easily, like it was meant to become a part of you. It was like Leonardo was trying to build a machine that wasn't just made by people, but made to move like people. And then the biggest discovery of all, when the AI put everything together, the gears, the patterns, the math, the memory, the logic, it came to one final answer. This wasn't just a calculator. It was a complete working mechanical computer. It could loop, it could adapt, it could solve problems. It used repeating cycles just like a modern processor. It had rules, it had logic, it had a kind of mind hidden in wood and steel. Leonardo da Vinci, the artist, the inventor, the anatomist, was also something else. But Leonardo was the very definition of a polymath Renaissance man. In addition to being a visionary painter, he was an engineer, anatomist, and chronicler of science. In fact, so vast were his innovations that today he was a coder. For all his brilliance, what happened when Leonardo's ideas didn't quite go as planned? Keep watching to find out more details. Da Vinci's risky inventions. When genius ideas didn't work out, Leonardo da Vinci is one of the most famous figures of the Renaissance. He is widely known for his painting, especially the Mona Lisa, and for making contributions in many areas like science, engineering, math, and nature. Along with Michelangelo and Raphael, Da Vinci is often seen as one of the greatest minds in history. But while many people focus on his successes, it's also true that Da Vinci came up with several ideas that didn't work. Some of his inventions were too ambitious, poorly planned, or simply impossible to build with the tools available at the time. During the 14th and 1500s in Italy, artists and inventors needed support from rich and powerful people. They had to sell their ideas to kings, dukes, and other leaders to get money for their work. Da Vinci had to do the same. In 1482, he sent a letter to the Duke of Milan listing his talents. He claimed he could build strong bridges and deadly war machines, but most of these ideas were never built or tested. It was more about trying to impress someone who could pay him. One idea he came up with in the early 1500s was a diving suit. Over 500 years ago, at a time when people still believed the Earth was flat and that sea monsters inhabited the edge of the oceans, Da Vinci devised an apparatus that would allow divers to breathe underwater. At that time, Venice feared an attack from the Ottoman Empire. Because Venice depended on its navy, Da Vinci tried to design something useful for underwater defense. His diving suit was made of leather with goggles, breathing tubes, and even a place for the diver to relieve themselves. He also designed a system to bring air underwater using a brass bell and tubes. Even though the design was very creative for the time, it wasn't very useful in real life. The suit couldn't go very deep, and Da Vinci never explained how it could help in a real fight. The Venetian military didn't take the idea seriously. Da Vinci himself later said he didn't want to explain everything about the suit because he feared people would use it for evil, like sinking ships and taking the lives of sailors. Another one of Da Vinci's war-related ideas was an armored tank. It looked good on paper but didn't work in practice. The tank had a design flaw that made it impossible to move, and it would have been far too slow to be useful in battle. Some people think Da Vinci may have included the flaw on purpose to stop it from being used for war. Da Vinci also dreamed of flying. One of his early memories, whether true or not, involved a bird landing on him, which may have inspired his lifelong interest in flight. He studied birds closely and drew many designs for flying machines. One type, the ornithopter, used flapping wings like a bird, but it needed the pilot to power it using only their muscles, which made it impossible to actually fly. None of his flying machines were ever tested during his lifetime. Modern engineers have tried to build them, and in one case, by combining parts of different designs and making changes, they were able to make one fly. But it only worked because of modern materials and improvements that Da Vinci never included. In 1485, Da Vinci also drew a design for a parachute. It was a pyramid-shaped tent made of linen with a wooden frame. While the shape was unusual and heavy, the design showed a good understanding of how air resistance works. Many believed it would never work, but in the year 2000, a daredevil named Adrian Nicholas tested it. The parachute slowed his fall, showing that the idea could work. However, the wooden frame was too heavy to land safely with, so Nicholas used a normal parachute before reaching the ground. Da Vinci wasn't always the first to come up with his ideas. His parachute design was similar to one drawn earlier by another inventor named Tacala. Also, the famous drawing of the Vitruvian Man used today to show perfect human proportions was based on earlier work by Giacomo Andrea Ferrara, a friend of Da Vinci's. Da Vinci even mentioned Ferrara in his own notes. Overall, Da Vinci had many ideas that were ahead of his time, but many of them were too complex or incomplete to work in real life. His diving suit, flying machines, tank, and parachute all show how creative he was, but also how far ahead of his time he tried to be. Even when his inventions didn't succeed, they often inspired others. His imagination laid the foundation for many future breakthroughs, even if he didn't get them quite right himself. What if the man behind the Mona Lisa was hiding far more than just a mysterious smile? What if his greatest masterpiece was the mind that created it? Let's learn more. Leonardo da Vinci, the boy from Vinci who changed the world. Leonardo da Vinci was born on April 15, 1452 in a small village in Tuscany called Vinci. His parents were a rich lawyer named Piero da Vinci and a peasant woman named Caterina. Because his parents were not married, Leonardo could not use his father's last name. Instead, he was called da Vinci, meaning from Vinci. As a child, Leonardo stayed with his mother until he was about 5 years old. Then he went to live with his father and his stepmother. He had many half-brothers and sisters. Being born out of wedlock meant Leonardo couldn't get an inheritance. He had to make his own way. Leonardo was curious and imagined flying like a bird or swimming in the ocean. When his father saw his talent for drawing, he sent Leonardo to Florence to train under a famous painter named Andrea Delvo. In that workshop, Leonardo learned much more than just painting. He helped with sculptures, metalwork, building plans, and even machines. At one point, he painted 2 angels in a scene called the Baptism of Christ. His work was so beautiful that Verrocchio never painted again. They say by his mid-20s, Leonardo was a master painter in Florence. But when he was 24, he was accused of a crime called sodomy. The court found no proof, so he was not punished. But the accusation hurt his reputation. He never married. Some people wonder about his personal life, but maybe he chose to stay single to focus on his ideas. At that time, life was dangerous. Rival gangs and wealthy families often fought. One man assassinated a member of the Medici family in the street. Leonardo drew the man after he was hanged. One of his earliest known art pieces, Leonardo struggled to finish some projects. One was the Adoration of the Magi. He started it but never finished it and was even sued. Wanting a fresh start, he decided to move to Milan. He wrote a bold letter to the ruler of Milan, Duke Ludovic Sforza. The Duke invited him to Milan. First, he asked Leonardo to paint a portrait of his mistress, the famous lady with an he asked for a giant horse statue in bronze. Leonardo created a clay model, but never made it in metal. In Milan, Leonardo also painted the Last Supper on a wall in a church. It took over 3 years. While working, he secretly studied human bodies by dissecting cadavers. He drew muscles and organs in private notebooks, work that would help modern science, though it was not allowed by the church. After Leonardo's death, these notebooks remained hidden for more than 100 years. When the Duke lost power and the French conquered Milan, Leonardo had to flee. He took his notebooks and traveled trying to find someone interested in his war ideas, but people still thought he was too imaginative. In Florence, a new star had risen, Michelangelo. He was younger, bold, and rough in style. Leonardo and Michelangelo disliked each other and even got into a fight once. Wanting to work again, Leonardo joined Cesare Borgia, a powerful and feared leader. As a military engineer, he helped plan towns and forts. But Leonardo was shocked by real war, especially after a friend was assassinated. He escaped at night and returned to Florence. In his older years, Leonardo painted the Mona Lisa. He carried it with him always, never giving it away. It was his own, and he kept adjusting it. No one knows who the woman is, and her smile remains a mystery. In the end, King Francis I of France welcomed Leonardo to his castle. Leonardo lived there until he died in 1519 at age 67. His right arm was weak from a stroke, but he had royal care. He left the Mona Lisa and his notebooks to his student. Born as a child with no rights, Leonardo died like a king. His endless curiosity, his art, and his ideas keep guiding science, medicine, and creativity. Today, if Da Vinci was a master at blending science and art in his inventions, how did he use those same skills to hide deep meanings inside his paintings, especially the Last Supper? Let's take a closer look. Leonardo da Vinci's secret language in the Last Supper. Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper is one of the most famous and talked about paintings in the world. It shows the moment when Jesus tells his disciples that one of them will betray him. Each of the 12 men reacts differently. Some look shocked, others upset, and some seem to be asking questions. Da Vinci painted this scene in a way that captures emotion, movement, and storytelling all at once. He used body language and hand gestures to show each disciple's reaction clearly, so you can almost feel the tension in the room just by looking at it. In the painting, Jesus is in the middle, sitting calmly. His head and hands form a triangle which shows balance and peace. The light from the windows behind him creates a soft glow around him, making him the focus. The disciples are placed in 4 groups of 3, and their bodies are turned in different directions to show confusion and emotion. Da Vinci wanted to show real human reactions, so each face is unique. He even studied people's expressions and movements in real life to get the details just right. There's also deep symbolism in the painting. For example, the number 3 shows up many times. 3 windows, 3 groups on each side, and Jesus forming a triangle. This might represent the Holy Trinity. The bread and wine on the table hint at the Eucharist, the Christian tradition of communion. Judas, the one who will betray Jesus, is painted with a darker face and is reaching for the same bowl as Jesus, which refers to the Bible passage where Jesus says, "The one who dips his hand in the bowl with him will betray him." Da Vinci also used mathematical ideas to create a perfect balance in the painting. He used something called linear perspective, where all the lines in the room seem to point toward Jesus' head. This makes him the center of attention no matter where you're standing. The ceiling panels, walls, and table all lead the viewer's eyes to Jesus. Da Vinci planned every part of the painting carefully so that nothing felt out of place. Over the years, some people have said the painting hides secret messages. One popular idea is that the person to the left of Jesus isn't a man, but Mary Magdalene. Some believe this means they had a special relationship, though most experts say it's just John, the youngest disciple. Others say the spaces between the disciples form musical notes or secret shapes. But these ideas are more theories than facts. Sadly, the painting has been damaged many times. Da Vinci didn't use the usual method for wall paintings. Instead of painting on wet plaster, he used a dry surface so he could work more slowly and include more details. But that made the painting weaker, and over time it started to fade and peel. People have tried to fix it many times, and parts of it today are not the original paint. Still, the heart of the painting remains, and it continues to amaze people all over the world. Leonardo da Vinci didn't just create a piece of art. He told a powerful story through emotion, light, shape, and design. The Last Supper is a work that shows his talent not only as a painter, but also as a thinker who understood human feelings and used science and art together to bring his ideas to life. What do you think about the legacy of Leonardo da Vinci? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you found it interesting. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the next video shown on your screen to catch up on your favorite celebrity stories. See you there.